speaking of Vlad, here I got an idea. So we're doing something for the culture. Maybe he can actually match it since he's always giving away stuff, allegedly. So we're giving away $50,000 actually. I forgot to mention that. So we have a pitch competition. So okay, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yes,
we're coming. What day is that?
April 27th.
April 27th. We're coming with United Masters, and we're doing our Earn Your Masters series from Charlotte, North Carolina. But this year we're doing something different. So we're doing 3 events this year. Charlotte is the first event, and every city that we go to, we're going to have a pitch competition.
That's
and
fun.
The winner of that, after the 3rd city, we'll announce the winner of the pitch competition. The winner of the pitch competition will get $50,000. The judges will be myself, Troy, and Steve Stout. And then we'll have other guests that will join us throughout different cities.
Yep.
So you can submit. So you can go online right now, go to United Masters website, and you can submit to get into the pitch competition if you're in Charlotte, North Carolina. And you could just come, even if you're not in the pitch competition, you come. And you can submit to actually perform as well. But Vlad, since you are for the culture, even though you're from Russia, but you're for the culture, right? So since you're so much for the culture, maybe you can match our $50,000, and maybe we could do $100,000 to a startup Black business and help them scale. Or maybe you can interview washed up.
Stop.
You know it's better when I say stop. Allegedly. I heard.
Allegedly.
I cannot confirm, but I heard.
Allegedly.
A lot of
allegedly
interviews from people who are past their prime. Allegedly.
He's capturing their life stories.
Downhill skiing. Caught me at the tail end.
Troy, can you get your dad and mom have him come down sit?
Caught me at the tail end of my night. So $50,000 to all you entrepreneurs out there. Charlotte, North Carolina. First time ever that we're doing an event in Charlotte.
Yes.
Charlotte's a vibe. So April 27th, we're on our way to Charlotte, and we coming with Steve Stout. Shout out to Stout.
Shout out to Steve Stout.
Shout out to Stout, man. Shout out to United Masters. It's sponsored by Ally. The good folks at Ally.
Shout out to Ally.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
No more emails.
Allegedly.
Please.
My Lord.
Let's talk about some personal finance tips. The perpetual debt trap, right?
This is good. This is good stuff.
So where we going with the weddings?
Yeah, I looked at this. You want to read it all? Because I'm checking off like, damn, did that.
$50,000 weddings. That's actually cheap. That's on the cheap side.
It is.
$50,000 weddings, $500,000 in mortgage, $500 a month car note. That's cheap too.
Your car note, yep.
Most car notes ain't really
$750 now.
Yeah, $750. I think that's the average.
That's like the Corolla.
$100,000 in student loan debt, and then we didn't even calculate credit card debt in this situation either. So that's probably true. For the average American, that's probably around $5,000 to $10,000 in credit card debt.
Yeah.
Welcome to America. Right?
American dream turned to a nightmare real fast.
You know what's crazy about this? So we was in Ghana, and they was explaining to us, and same thing when we was in the UAE, where they was like, but in Ghana, they don't have the same understanding of debt that Americans have. They're like, if you want a house, like let's say the house costs $300,000, you buy the house for $300,000, right? Like you save, you get other family members involved. Have like if your car costs 30, like you buy the car, right? Like even if you rent, you pay like 2 years in advance on the rent, right? So it's like you putting down a down payment pretty much to actually rent. Their understanding of debt structure is completely different. Where Americans, you're actually taught to put as little money down as possible. And there are some benefits with that, obviously, as far as leveraging. I get it, real estate plays, but everybody's not Don Peoples. Let's just be honest, right? Everybody's not Don Peoples. Most people are looking to put as little possible because they don't have any money.
Yeah.
It's the I don't have enough play, so let me put as little bit as possible, and then I'll pay the rest on the back end. And that has led over $1 trillion, I think, in debt for the country as far as credit card debt. America,
which is insane,
is in shambles, and it's getting it from its leadership. When you look at the country, is borrowing trillions of dollars, and every level of American society, we live on debt, from the United States government to states, to businesses, to households, to individuals.
The cities, yeah. Even Houston said the number of money in Houston. Houston's broke right now.
Yeah, we're all in a big Ponzi scheme of debt, and what's the deal for that?
I think going back to basics, try and pay off your car. I know we brought it up on Blackout. Even if you got a lump sum of money, should you pay it off? And then people were like, no, but if you get a 2% rate, I'm like, no, like the 2% rates are gone. I don't know if you guys have looked the news, but quantitative easing is over. So, but banks do this to enslave you. And if you look at how can you have any money if you have $150,000 in student loans, a $800 car payment? We're not even going to talk about childcare and childcare services. I think the number one goal has to be to put money into places that are going to grow for you. And like we talked about before, keeping those expenses low. Even on the media side, most of the companies that went out of business had incredibly high overhead. I remember, I'm sure Joe told you this when y'all had the interview with him. Spotify had a town full of content houses, actual houses that look like Big Brother, before they signed anybody to put in the houses to film. $27 million loss. So you got all the lighting and all that. That's good. But no content to come out of it. And I think the blueprint has to be low overhead, high income, and 50% of that money invested. I keep saying everyone talks badly about Dave Ramsey, but that model works. There's some flaws in it for sure, but for his business to be debt free and for him to be debt free, there's a benefit for being debt free when things go wrong. So we got to replace these high cost weddings, and even on the fashion spending, what's the quote? You're buying things to impress people that don't even know you. We have to stop pushing that narrative, and I think we have to go to a zero debt model. Country, like at this point, I don't know when debt costs are going to be normal. For us to have $1 trillion plus in credit card debt with interest rates going higher, no good political leadership, but Vanguard and BlackRock gonna get paid. That's why I keep telling y'all, invest in Vanguard and BlackRock.
Here's one of the the best way to help clean up your credit.
What's that?
It's extremely complicated, but I'll kind of make it easy as understand as possible. It's called pay your bills on time. It's called the pay your bill on time play. So it's like it's one of these things, right? Where
I have very few. Yep.
This is breaking news shit. Like groundbreaking.
Keep the bills low.
So the thing about
let that settle in for a sec.
Yeah, buy my ebook. The thing about it is that at some point in time, you got to realize to live within your means, right?
Or under, yeah.
Pay for things that you can afford. Wait to buy things that you can't afford, right? Because even with the mortgage thing, they're like, well, mortgage interest is a tax write-off. Okay.
Yeah.
The interest on your mortgage is tax write-off, but you're paying $6,000 a month for your mortgage, and you're paying $2,000 a month for property tax, and you're paying $1,000 a month for shrubbery, and you're paying $500
landscaping,
for your electrician, for your electric bill, and
housekeeping.
And then so where's the write-offs in these situations? That's how they get you. So you get to write off. You're spending $10,000 a month. You get to write off $1,500, and you think that's the best thing that's ever happened in this world.
Yeah. And then they before it wasn't even capped. Now it's capped at a certain amount.
Once again, nothing is done for the benefit of the consumer. They're giving you a write-off on your mortgage interest because they want you to have mortgage interest.
Yeah.
It's an incentive. It's an incentive. It's called the incentive play, right? So if they can keep you at a 7% interest, 8% interest from paying the bank, right?
Yep.
It's not like you get nothing in this world for free. So okay, yeah, you get a deduction for it, but you're paying interest.
Mm-hmm.
That's the part that nobody seems to understand in this situation. And you're paying everything else. So I'm not saying a mortgage is bad, but I'm just saying it's just that mentality of always trying to rationalize why debt is a good thing. And a lot of parts of the world, it's not normalized like that, right? Like that's the best financial advice that you can get. Pay your bills on time. Don't buy things you can't afford. Don't borrow money unless you know you can pay it back. Self-fund if possible. Live below your means. Don't live up to expectations of others. Don't try to impress others. Don't buy depreciating assets over the course of time. Invest money in things that will go up over the course of time. I mean, we can make this a little bit more complicated, but ultimately it comes down to some self-discipline here.
Yeah, and I think that, to bring up the Ghana point, like the self-discipline is the most glaring thing, because it's when you're talking about paying for things in cash, you're talking about buying cars, right? Like we saw the guys, and like we don't. There's no like system or car payment plan. Like it's either you have the money or you don't have the car, right? Or in some extreme circumstances, they may give you 2 months to pay off the car, right? Like we're doing 5-year financing. Sometimes they put you in the 6-year financing.
They have a 7-year plan now.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, with a 7% interest rate. And so to have the financial discipline to purchase a vehicle or to purchase a home, let's talk 200,000. How many of us can save 200,000 in a lifetime? Yeah, you're watching people do it before they hit 30, and so the discipline that it takes to do that. But I'm interested, right? Because if that was the perpetual death trap, then like, what's the blueprint for the new trap? Because I feel like $100,000 in student loan, we can give solutions for that, right? Like maybe school is not the thing, or maybe if you're going to go to school, take the community college play or stay local or live at home. Like there's solutions for that. But like when you're talking about mortgages, do we have to find the income level that makes it necessary to rent or buy? Like what would be the
families have to go back to living together? And that's another issue we have to discuss.
Like it's being forced, like, isn't it that way anyway, right? Like if we watch more kids that are graduating with high levels of debt coming out of school, I've seen people $1,200, $1,500 a month in student loan. That's rent. You can't do both, right? So it's I have to go back home. But if your parent has been renting, maybe there isn't a home to go back to. So it gets tricky, right? Like, so what are like, and this is just like open-ended, like what would be like the blueprint for this to create a new system, right? To not fall in that debt trap. Paying your bills is one. We got like, what else do we think?
I mean, we got to realize too, when even on a self-discipline side, we're fighting against the banks that own the media that make the propaganda for it to be cool to go into debt. Like we can have a whole argument around how hip hop has driven consumerism to a whole bunch of shit that we don't need. Got to start a business early, have to invest early. That's why these conversations are incredibly important and giving a blueprint for what to do. But just realizing like all debt is, and I know people like there's good debt, there's bad debt. That shit sounds good until you have to pay it. To those of you that are paying $15,000 a month in good debt, man, it sucks. If it's coming out of your business or your personal, it doesn't feel good when that money is constantly being going out of your account and then the money isn't coming in as fast. I think we have to focus a lot more on not having debt, and then we have to go back to multi-generational family living and succession planning. But I think that's a tough thing in our community because a lot of the families are not getting along because Instagram has replaced the family reunion. When the last time you know somebody black had a family reunion?
I always see the t-shirts. I feel like I don't know that went to one. I don't know anybody that has them.
Me either, and probably in 10 years.
Yeah.
So
the 50,000 wedding play is kind of interesting.